Welcome to the next short tutorial on essay writing and how to get higher grades for your essay. And this is quite a straightforward sort of technical look at essays. We're going to go into the print view, how it actually looks like when you print it out from Word. I should stress, by the way, that I'm using the UK English dictionary. So if wherever you are in the world, you need to change that to the correct dictionary for your version of English, or indeed your other language. But you can see here I'm just using the UK English dictionary, and these are the references that appear. I prefer to put references as footnotes at the bottom of a page rather than at the end of the essay. And the reason I do that, unless you're explicitly instructed to do so by the rules for writing an essay, by your college, by your university, or whatever. If you're given a choice, my choice always is for footnotes rather than endnotes, because it means the examiner, the person who's marking your essay, can just look down straight away on the correct page and see what those references are, to make sure that you're actually referencing correctly and that what you've referenced is relevant to the work that you're writing. So here we are. Here are the references for page 1 of my essay, and there are 5 references on the page, and there are 4 of them are for secondary works. That's Adamson, Stevenson, this is also Stevenson, and this is Canny. So, and 1 for a primary source, which is for the Sonnet 16 of John Milton, and this is an 1889 edition. And obviously, of course, that doesn't really matter, the date of an edition of a primary source in translation, if it was originally, say, in Latin or whatever, so long as you list it out, and it's a reputable translation, of course. So what have I done? Well, I've put the surname of the author of the book, or in this case of an essay, and the layout of each reference is to follow the rules of your institution. So you may have quite different ways of displaying it, and indeed you might have different ways of displaying the references. You might have to have in brackets, you might have to have the Adamson and then P for page, full point, and the page number, and that might be your reference there, which you then carry on down here, spell out fully down here. So it really depends on what system your institution uses, but for the institution, the university that I was at when I was writing this was the correct format. And the format is, as you can see, is the surname of the author, their initials, and because this is an essay in a collection of essays, so it's only one essay in a book of essays, then in single inverted commas is the title of the essay, comma, and then in, to signify it's inside a collection of essays, is the editor of the essay, Oliver Cromwell and the English Revolution, and then the place and date of publication, and finally the page number where that reference, to which that reference refers. And the same is true here with Stevenson. He's also writing an essay in this same collection. And I can IBID means moral, which I've already cited on this page. I don't need to repeat all of this again. I can just put IBID. And then the 4th reference is actually again from this same essay without any changes there. So this is like so there's IBID again, just to show that there's been no change in the source of that reference. And then finally there's another one completely different. This is the author's surname, their initial, and now because it's in italic, it means it's the whole book which they've done, and that's where and when it was published, and that's the page number where I've taken the reference from. So pretty straightforward to do references. If we go down to the next page, let's have a look there. Well, I put IBID there. Now that's wrong, because you can only really use IBID where it's where it's immediately above, or it's immediately above this reference. So you've got 2 references to the same publication, and that the IBID on the next page is actually referring back to Canny. So what I should have there is actually Canny C-A-N-N-Y, the author, and a comma, and then opcit, previously cited, and then the page number, because there's a break between the first page and this is now we're on page 2. And if we look down the other references, they're all pretty much straightforward. Alma, his introduction in his own collection here, the Interregnum. Ferguson, that's his own book. You can see there that he's Ferguson, he or she rather. Scotland's relations with England, etc. That's when it was published and where. Roots, that's an essay inside this book, and that's why we've used Ibid to identify Alma. And then we got another secondary source there. And what have we got here on the end of this page? Oops. There we have Woolrich and Smith and Russell with an essay in a journal, the journal history, the volume number and the date and the page number there. And then we have Morrill, as previously cited, Ferguson, as previously cited in the previous page, Stevenson, as previously cited, and then Stevenson again. But because Stevenson is already up there, we can just put Ibid, and that will cover that. That again is wrong. That should say opcit and have the name of the author there. So I made a mistake there. Canny, opcit, and now Canny Ibid, because it's following on the same one. And they're pretty straightforward to get used to. If you're not sure of the way previously cited or Ibid or CF, whatever, you can soon look these up online. But that does mean that you correctly referenced your essay and you're demonstrating. So if we just jump back to 100%, you can see how the pages of the essay look with their endnotes. And to me that seems a better way, an easier way for the examiner to see your references than if you have them at the end. But as I say, some institutions insist on having them at the end. And the other aspect I've included here, I'll include in this tutorial, is the bibliography. And the bibliography is, first and foremost, must include everything that you've referenced. All your reference works there must be included in your bibliography with their full details. And there's, again, your institution will have set rules on how your bibliography should be laid out. And it may be that you'll have not just bibliography of publications, but maybe also of internet sources, and you need to cite those with the URL and the date on which they were accessed. But the key thing about a bibliography is it wants to be more than just your the things that you've the items that you've referenced. So include in your bibliography everything that you read to write your essay. Even if you didn't actually quote it or reference it in your essay, include it in your bibliography. Demonstrate to your examiner that you've read widely in order to, and I mean that's not a bad bibliography for an essay, I suppose, just about get away with that. To demonstrate that you've read a wide range of material in order to answer your essay. So I'm going to leave it there and come back with another short tutorial shortly.